have you ever heard that the biggest mistake people make when they are in a crisis is that they don't know that they're actually in a crisis to begin with? I didn't make that one up. I took it from the show Scandal. And if you don't know the show Scandal, I highly suggest you go back and watch it. And the thing is, a lot of us don't realize that when we're in crisis, that we're in it. And a lot of us don't realize like how bad it is until it's like really, really bad. And some days I'm the Olivia Pope of the hospital and my life. Other days I'm crying in the bathroom before lunch. Okay. And let me tell you something. Not nearly crying anywhere near the amount of times I was crying when I was a new nurse on the floor. All right. But I have learned how to trust my skills. I have learned how to listen to my intuition, and I have learned how to manage some of the wildest situations. And if I can help you with that, that's what hopefully I'm going to do. That's what I feel like I'm here for. That's what I feel like, what I can assist with. Here's the thing. We are all under some spell, we'll call it, of influence. Okay. Whether that's Instagram, whether that's TikTok, whether it's that fuckboy that you can't stop texting back, that you can't, or that, girl who's, you're always on her stories, you're always in her DMs, sending her shit. You just can't let it up. You know it's toxic. She's not good for you, but you just can't. Okay. She's influencing you. All right. You got Pinterest, you got the trad wives, you got the 24/7 ads, you're getting got by the algorithm. We're buying stuff we don't need. Like, honestly, like, is a Stanley Cup, is it going to change your life? No. Is like 200 of them? Like I saw recently, some lady had like 200 Stanley Cups. She had to turn her living room and dining room. She had to put up shelves and she had them color coordinated. And she had like these Stanley Cups all over the fucking come on. Also, why is that? Okay, cool, celebrated and like applauded online, but like it's hoarding. I hate to break it to you, even though it's organization, hoarding. We're still hoarding. We still got Amazon addictions. We still got, consumption addictions. And if that was a mess and it was disorderly and it was all over the place and you couldn't, walk through the living room and she didn't like put up those lovely shelves, you would probably be making a reality show about these people and, trying to fix their lives up and trying to clean up the mess. But for some reason, when it's organized, it's celebrated, which I don't understand because it's kind of the same thing. It's the same thing. And there's, again, control, order that maybe you don't have in your life, that maybe you don't have going on. You think you're going to get with 200 Stanley Cups. Anyway, I hate to break it to you. They really are like, girl, it's just a water bottle. It's not a portal to another dimension. It's not gonna, solve all your problems. It's not gonna change your life. And honestly, it's not even unique because everybody's got them. You look like a soccer mom and which nothing wrong with looking like a soccer mom. But if you're 17 years old, like, is that the vibe you want? I don't know. Not, but everyone's out here. Like, that's the biggest thing in New York City right now. Everybody looks like a different version of something of themselves. Like, there are very few people, and I hate saying this because like the oldies, the geriatric millennials are the only ones out here looking like a little different. Everybody's starting to look the same. Everybody's starting to look like a version of the Kardashians. The filler, the Botox, the outfits, the targeted, everyone's like, whatever trend is going, the shearling jacket a few years ago, the beige and, I don't want monotone colored sweatpants, the beige, the brown, the gray, like that was a thing. It's just like, what do you want to look like everybody for? Like the moment you see a targeted ad, you should be like, no, or 15 people in something, you should be like, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that because like, unless you really, really want it. I don't understand this thing of everybody wanting to look like we hated wearing uniforms as kids. Like we couldn't wait to not look like everybody else. And I think that's the thing with millennials. Like we hated it. And that, I think that's why we don't want to look like other people. And that's probably why we gatekeep, which isn't good either. That's not nice, but like, it's probably why we do it. Cause it's like, you didn't want anybody in school to have what you had. Like, so a lot of times, like we grew up in a wildly different, a wildly different set of circumstances than I think is going on right now, because we didn't want to look alike. We wanted to be individual. We didn't want someone to have the sneakers we had. We didn't want somebody to have, the outfit we had. A lot of millennials won't be like, they'll be like, "Oh, where'd you get that?" And they won't tell you, like back in the day. Not now, because we're healing and stuff. But I don't know. I just, like, I don't get why everybody wants to look like each other. I don't. It's like, I feel like that is you not trusting yourself, because it's like you're not trusting yourself to be unique. You're not trusting yourself to dress as a form of self-expression. You're not, you're wanting what everybody else has, or wanting to look like everybody else. It's very cookie cutter vibes. I know I may get like, you may not like me saying this, but it's truly like how I feel. Like, I go to places and I go out, and like every girl looks the same. Every dude looks the same. And I'm like, come on. Like, and I get for dudes, like, there's not a lot of clothes and stuff. And I know sometimes it's hard, especially if you're a bigger dude. My husband always, talks to me about, not talks to me, like, we don't sit down and like be like, let's have a serious conversation about this. No, but he'll say, he's like, it's hard to be a big dude and like find clothes to wear. Like, it's like they just fucking want to make us wear hooded sweatshirts, So like, that I get. But anyway, there's a lot going on, okay, in all of this. And like, don't get me started on everything that's being like pushed towards us, and how we're all like moving like so far away from ourselves, and unique, and like I said, dressing through self-expression, like, is really, I mean, you see it in New York. Like, I see it here, you see it downtown, you see it, in the Village, you see it in Bushwick. I just came back from Bushwick tonight. Like, nobody looks the same there, which is great. You have a lot of vintage, a lot of, mixed styling. Some of these things don't match, but you do you, boo. I see you. But this is why, you can't get got. It's easy to get caught up. It's easy to get caught up in what other people are doing, what they're buying, what they're saying. And when you're constantly looking outward to figure out who you are, you're never going to be able to listen to the inward. You're never going to be able to, to be that authentic self, to be who you are. And this is why trusting yourself, trusting your intuition, trusting your gut, listening to your higher self, it's really, really important. And that's like why I'm making this episode. And that's why I made the newsletter. And I'm going to do like a series on this, because I really feel it is so important, especially into the energy we're getting into. And you don't have to believe in the cosmos. You don't have to believe in astrology. You don't have to believe in all the crap that again, I don't believe in this shit like wholeheartedly. I use it as a guide. I use it like I check the weather, and I'm like, okay, cool. Probably should bring an umbrella today. Looks like rain. Maybe I won't get caught in the rain. Maybe it won't rain at all. Maybe it'll be a fucking hurricane and not just rain. Who knows? Maybe I'm not even going to leave the house. But I like to use it and have it as a tool. But at the end of the day, I believe we create, and we can really shape the narrative, and really have the ability to design our lives. So I'm not going to get caught up in a horoscope. I'm not going to get caught up in a birth chart and be like, oh, well, it says that I have this, I have that. Okay, well, maybe I'll have issues with that, or maybe that'll be a challenge at one time, or maybe that's something that I, need to work on, but that's not going to, a birth chart's not going to define who the hell I am. It's very like, even with astrology, like going up to someone, and I've said this before, going up to them and being like, oh, you're an Aries, so you're like this. It's kind of like going up to someone and being like, oh, you're this religion, or you're that nationality. Oh, so you're like this, or oh, you're from there, so you're like this. It's like, no, we're all shaped by our experience, our cultures, our values, our, individual, narrative, our individual path, the things we've gone through, the things that have, helped mold us. So no, it's like, just because you're an Aries, no, you're not like that. Like that, please don't sum me up by that. And I would never do that to anybody. Is it a good way to talk to people, connect with them? Is it a good way to figure some things out about yourself when you feel completely lost and you're like, what the fuck is my destiny? What is my purpose? And you're completely overwhelmed and you don't know what to make heads or tails of, or you're trying to, get on a path to self-growth, or a path of like even trying to figure it out, or maybe no one's ever told you that, yeah, you fucking act like this. You wonder why you have no friends. You wonder why you can't keep a relationship. You don't think your parents fucked you up. Like, you don't think you have baggage. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if no one's ever been real enough with you, and you don't have people like that in your life, or you weren't at that point where you were ready to be like, to put the mirror on yourself, astrology is a great thing for that. Birth chart's a great thing for that. But nothing is absolute. We're going to get to that in this episode too. There are no absolutes. But I don't want you handing your life over to Jeff Bezos. I don't want you handing your life over to Karen from work and letting her, dictate your mood. And because she has no control, or because, she wants to keep the spotlight off of her and the fact that she's fucking around and, can't come to work on time and wants to be like, oh, where's Amy? We haven't, didn't she go for that coffee like 20 minutes ago? It's like, bitch, mind your business. Okay. But don't let that get in your head. Don't let that throw you off, and don't let that live rent free in your mind. All right. Because neither Karen or Jeff Bezos has your best interest at heart. Okay. They don't care. I'm good. No one cares as much as you think that they care. Okay. When it comes to your imposter syndrome, you questioning yourself, you not having self-confidence, you being afraid to talk about something, or letting something live in your head from like third grade that you said, or, maybe you over-talked at the party, maybe you overshared. Again, like, I'll question what the fuck was this podcast episode when I finish, but no one's probably going to think too much about that, because if anyone was like, what the fuck, they probably stopped listening by now. All right. Next, if you've ever watched Scandal, again, we're going to bring back to this. Olivia Pope is the queen of handling shit. And let me tell you, you can also be the king or queen or they of handling shit as well. So, and while Olivia is handling shit in her beautiful suits and her couture Chanel, and I don't own a single white t-shirt that doesn't have a stain on it, it doesn't matter. I have still learned a few things from this woman, and I am still embodying a little bit. One, you have to acknowledge the truth. If your life is a hot mess and you got a fucking VIP ticket on the Hot Mess Express, you gotta admit it. You gotta say it out loud. You can't pretend, again, going back to my little weather analogy, you can't pretend that your hurricane is just like a little bit of rain, or it's a little drizzle. Yeah, it's nothing. Like, you can't pretend that. Whether it's your job, whether it's your relationships, whether it's your, relationship with your family, your friends, whether it's your relationship with booze or drugs, or, even internet addiction or social media addiction or screen time addiction, whatever. You can't fix what you're not going to face or what you don't want to face. All right. And I got some notes here. So let me get to this. All right. First, I don't know better than you about you. So I just want to make this clear. Okay. I want you to be the president of the You fan club. Do you feel like the president of the You fan club? When I ask you that, or are you letting the Amazon, suggested links and the IG algorithm like run your whole life? Okay. Is that what's going on? Or are you listening to you? Because I don't want you to be influenced by me. I would love to inspire you. I would love to help guide you. I would love to share the cliff notes on life and the things that I have been through, because trust me, I am the person who, when you tell them the stove is hot, I'm going to touch it. I'm going to realize it's hot. I'm probably going to touch it again just to make sure. And then I'll share it with you and be like, the stove is very hot and here's the burn I have. And I had to go to the ER. Like, that's the me in this. Human design, if you're into it, I'm a 3-5. Whole point of my existence is to experience things and then to bring it back to the collective in like a Cliff Notes version on what's what. I don't want to be the authority in your life. I honestly don't have capacity for that. I have enough shit going on that still needs to be done as I'm sitting here like looking at my to-do list that's on my desk. I don't want to run your life. I don't want to be on a pedestal. I am wildly human. I am wildly flawed. Okay? So, and at any point, if you are listening to me over yourself, you are not feeling your own emotions, or you're being, you're looking to others, or you're looking to other people instead of yourself first, or how you feel about something, or someone else's hot takes and opinions over your own, stop listening to them. Pause. If it's for some reason me, I have created a bunch of stuff. I have guides. I have a catalog on my YouTube and on my website that you can go to that can help you get back to self, that helps you foster intuitive wellness, that helps you really, gives you a starting point. Because I was at that point years ago where I didn't know which direction to go in. I knew I felt terrible. I knew I wanted to do more. I knew I was meant to do more. I was so confused. All the crap I had pushed down for years was finally starting to bubble up. And I didn't even know. I knew there was a road. I didn't even know how to get to the highway, get in the car and turn it on. And that's why I've created a lot of the stuff that I created just to help you. So at any point, if you feel like that shit's happening and you're being like heavily influenced, like go back to that and be like, I got to go back to me. And yes, there are going to be times in your life where you have to take the road back to you. We get connected to ourselves. We find our way home. And then, some nights you lose your keys or you park your car and you forget where you parked it. It's for whatever reason. So you may have to come back home a couple of times and the journey may be different each time. But the goal is to get back home and to stay there and to stay grounded in yourself and to stay in your authentic self. But stuff's going to happen. Crisis happens. Traumas happen. Wild shit happens. Like look at life since 2020. Anyway, the whole point of me saying all this is it's harder to get got, whether it's by the algorithm, the outside forces, the influencing forces, the drugs, the alcohol, the people at work, the critics, the inner critic. It's harder to get got by those things if you are grounded and you're really, really listening to your intuition. Okay. And I'm not here to solve all your problems. I want to give you the laminated cliff notes on how to avoid doing dumb shit. And like I said in the newsletter, they are laminated in case you want to read them while you're crying in the shower. So what do we know about crisis? Hardest part, like we just said, acknowledging the truth, admitting how bad it really is. The other thing we have to do is let go of the absolutes. I talked about this before because for intuition and for that inner guidance, it's either a hell yes or a hell no. If it is not one of those things, hell yes or hell no, it is a no for now. Because maybe you need more information. Maybe you need to get more grounded. Maybe you need to, like in my case, it is hard for me to come back in a difficult conversation in that conversation. And I have learned that because years ago, I would try to respond. Like I am not going to be on the debate team. And my husband could have been the king of the debate team. He could have been like, whatever they call that. I forgot there's a name for it, but like he would be great at it. He would be amazing at it. So I'm a debate team dropout with the king of the debate team as my husband. Okay. And for years, I didn't know that about myself until I started doing a lot of the work. I would get wildly frustrated. I would get super defensive. I would get angry. It would turn into a big fight. And he's someone who just likes the facts. He just wants the facts. He just like, don't give me any emotion. This is the situation. X, Y, Z. 1 + 1 is 2. And I would be too in my emotion in that moment to be able to express how I was feeling like properly without, like getting defensive, getting upset, yelling, whatever. And I had to learn that is because I am not good in the moment with that. I need to stop. I need to detach. I need to pull back and I need to feel those emotions. And I need to also do like an internal kind of investigation as to, what's going on. And then a day later or 2 days later or 3 days later, after I've let the emotion run through my body, after I've worked through my own feelings, after I've been able to come up with, the proper way to express it and the words, because articulating it in the moment isn't like my vibe, then I can come back and sit down. Guess what? The majority of the world doesn't operate like that. So again, you have to learn these things for yourself. You have to learn what a hell yes feels like. You have to learn what a hell no feels like. And then you have to learn, maybe this is a no for now. And if it's a no for now, I get it. Sometimes the world wants a decision in the moment, but do you have the ability to stop? Do you have the ability to take a break? Do you have the ability to come back in 2 or 3 days? Because I've learned that if it's a no for now, then it's a no for now. And maybe I have to revisit this. Maybe I have to come back to it. Maybe I have to gather more data. Maybe I have to see how this plays out a little bit more. But then when the moment's right and it becomes a hell yes, then I can act on it. Or it becomes a hell no, I can walk away. So again, you have to feel this, because flexibility is something that leads to more alignment. Absolutes don't let us, they don't let us get to our destiny. They don't let us move on our path, because sometimes we have something gripped so tight and we want it so badly the way that we want it because of our ego, because of our culture, because of our upbringing, mostly because we're afraid of what everybody's going to think, or we don't want to be that person who goes against the norm. Again, the targeted ads and what everybody's wearing, and maybe you don't want to be the one who shows up, in the mismatched outfit or the brightly colored this or whatever, because you don't want that much attention on you and you don't want to stand out and be different. So it's like, oh, what's everybody wearing? What's the latest style? What's the latest this? I got to get, my Good America jeans. I got to get my Skims. I got to, because that's what everybody else is wearing. Oh, of course I have to get my lips filled because everybody's getting a Botox, the lip flip. It's like, okay, you don't though. Okay. And a lot of you look weird with it. I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm going to say it. And a lot of dudes, like if you're trying to land a dude, they're like expression lines. Here's a secret. Expression lines on your face, they let people know if you're interested in them or not. So a lot of times, especially when you're interacting with people and you're trying to land someone to, for a relationship or maybe just one night, sometimes the lack of expression on your face isn't letting them know that you're interested, especially if you've Botoxed the shit out of your face, because we read faces, we read expressions, that's how we pick up on cues. So if you don't have those expression lines, someone might not know that you're even interested in them. And that is true. You can Google that. Anyway, with these hard stances and these absolutes, you're not open to doing things differently sometimes. You're not open to other experiences. You're not open to other things being on your path. You may not be open to, it doing it differently than you usually do, or, you're looking for you might not want to think outside the box because you're sitting there looking for a box to begin with, or you have to satisfy yourself by seeing the actual box. And it's like, you don't have to see the fucking box because we're telling you to think outside of it. So what does it matter if the box is even there? So again, the absoluteness, you gotta move with a little bit. The other thing is preparation instead of planning. Planning is real cute. It's nice to have things tied up in little boxes and a bunch of Stanley Cups organized in your living room. And it's nice to have stuff tied up with little bows and to be perfect. But let me ask you a question. How many times does life actually follow your plans? Take 5 minutes today and think about all the times you planned everything out perfectly, all the times you said it was going to be how this way or that way, and everybody's going to have fun at the party. Everybody. How many times, we don't have to go that far. How many times do you go to a restaurant and you look at the menu, okay? You zone in on what you want to eat. You haven't even gotten out of your pajamas. And you already know what you're going to eat on Thursday at this restaurant. And then you go on Instagram and you look at photos of it and you hit the Google reviews, and when you go, you are getting the ravioli. And then when you get there, there's no ravioli. Okay? I know that's happened to you at least once. So just think about that. Okay? Maybe it's not the special. Maybe it's not the seasonal. Maybe they changed the menu. Life's not always following what we want it to. And a lot of times that's for good, because a lot of times we've been conditioned to hold ourselves back and not even think that great for ourselves or that big. And, how many times have you gotten a skinned knee? One of my favorite quotes, you've gotten a skinned knee from dodging a cannonball. You're crying about the skinned knee, but meanwhile, years later, you look back and you're like, wow, I dodged a whole situation. That was a whole cannonball. And I'm over here, that would have taken me out. And I'm over here crying about a little skinned knee, right? Preparation is smarter than planning. The universe loves a plot twist, okay? So you need to stay ready, and you need to be, on it, and you need to be just constantly preparing, but not planning it all out to a T. And because it's like planning's kind of like they say you can hold more sand in a open hand than you can a tight fist. Have you ever picked up sand and hold it in a tight fist? You can't hold that much. But if you scoop up sand and hold it in your palm in an open hand, you can hold much more of it. That's a visual for you of planning versus preparation. Preparation would be the open hand, by the way. Planning would be holding on to it tight. All right. So let me tell you how this has played out for me in my own life. Okay. One, it's not always glamorous. I'll tell you that. I did just use an example of dodging a cannonball, right? So it's not always glamour. It's not always what you see on the gram. Let's see. The first time I unapologetically followed my gut, didn't make sense to others, but absolutely made sense to me. I launched a little something called the Donna's Project, which was a project where I followed women in food, and it ended up being, again, tight plan. I planned to make a project about women in food. That is what it was going to be about. I was going to be in the food space. I had a plan. I had everything. And then the project took its own kind of journey. It ended up being about women in food, but it ended up not being about the food, not about their businesses. It ended up being about all they went through in their lives and how they moved through, and how the only way out for them was through, whether it was a divorce, a hard situation, the death of someone, all these things. That ended up being the common theme. And who would have known that project was something that I needed more at the time than I even realized. And I joke around and say that the Donna's Project ended up becoming about me. Like, it was named appropriately, the Donna's Project, because I ended up becoming the project. And then through this project, I healed a lot. I learned a lot about myself. I learned how to become more vulnerable, and I started sharing a lot more of my life on the internet. Okay? I had a plan at first with the Donnas, but then I realized that when I stopped holding on to that plan so tightly and I was just prepared, things were much better. I had a gut feeling. I went with it. It felt right. And then when I started listening to everybody else, and everybody started getting my ear, and my accountant started telling me that I'm not making enough money, and this person was like, well, if you had to do a 20-second elevator pitch on what the Donnas is, like, how would you answer it? And I'm like, I don't know. I literally have 150 people in a room right now who all paid to be here. So do I have to answer that? Or is that just for you because you have to tell people what you came to today, or because you want to start? Like, I let too many people into my aura, into my field, and my intuition got fucking hit. It got knocked out. It was like that fight the other night, like that Tyson fight. Like, but it was the two women, not Mike and that other dude, Jake Paul. It was those two women. I took a couple of jabs and left hooks. Like, that's my intuition did. And I did not make millions on the Donnas. I barely even made thousands. I lost money on that project. But what I did gain, you couldn't pay for. I couldn't buy. I gained connection. I gained growth. I gained a better sense of who I am. I gained a ton of self-esteem. And all of this was worth more than any amount of money, because you cannot buy confidence. I'm sorry. You can't buy class either if you listen to Luann from the Real Housewives of New York. But I gained confidence. I gained clarity. I gained connections. And the biggest connection I gained was the connection to myself. And this has even played out if you need even more receipts, if you need more recent receipts. I turned down grad school a couple of months ago because it just didn't feel right. And I realized that a lot of my coworkers at the time were going back to school. They were in fear of potentially losing their jobs, or, where their careers were going to go down the road and what growth they were going to have. And I was absorbing some of that. And the next thing you know, I'm like enrolled in this grad school program that I really didn't even kind of align with, because it was for a nurse practitioner in psych. And I was like, yeah, I want to have my own practice. And yeah, I want to help people. And yeah, I kind of want to coach people. And I want them to be the best versions of themselves. But I don't want to just be like prescribing meds and only like seeing them for 15 minutes to talk through talk therapy, which unfortunately is like what the program was going to be. And it wasn't going to give me a good basis in talk therapy, which, like, if I was going to do that, that's what I would want to do. So I had to make the decision and realize, like, why are you even going down this route? Oh, because you got everybody in your ear telling you this is what you should be doing. And people thought I was nuts when I was like, I'm not doing this again, because it's the second time I've walked away from grad school. But honestly, it was the right decision for me. And more recently, I took a job when I wasn't even looking for a job. I applied for a job that came up. It's in finance. Who even knew? Like there are nurses in finance, but there are. And I wasn't really even looking for it, but I was like, huh, this is interesting. It was a hard yes to apply for it when I decided. Actually, it wasn't a hard yes to begin with. It was a little bit of a no right now. And then I just out of nowhere, I was like, no, I'm going to apply for this thing. I'm going to do this. And what the fuck? What's the worst that happened? They tell me, no, I have a job. So what? And they said yes. And now I'm there and I'm like, holy shit, this is like the absolute greatest thing for me. And ironically enough, I just recently looked at my birth chart again. And apparently that's where I'm supposed to be at this point in my life. And at this stage and with these transits, I'm supposed to be in finance. So I'm looking for a girl in finance. I'm looking for a guy in finance. I am the guy in finance now. Anyway, so people are going to be pissed when you start choosing yourself, when you start listening to your intuition. My coworkers were like, well, what about your career? What about what you're supposed to be doing? And I'm like, what about my sanity? Do I really want to go back to school? I sit here and watch you all day. You're tortured. You're telling me you haven't gone out or done anything. And you're gaining weight, your health suffering, your blood pressure's up, all this shit's going like, well, why do I want to do this? No, I like it over here, So people are going to side eye your decisions, but guess what? Their opinions, they don't pay your bills. And their purpose is not aligning with your purpose. Your purpose is your purpose. So trust yourself. People aren't always going to get it. And they're probably going to judge you. You got to get a little bit thicker skin. And they may talk behind your back. That does happen a lot. But you know what? Their opinions are not your business. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. That's what my grandmother used to say. Your business is you. You're the CEO of this company. You incorporated. So let's get to work. Let's get to business. All right. Now, let's talk about building the biggest muscle in your body, the trust that you have with yourself. All right. Intuition. It's something we're born with, but it's like you're not going to shoot threes, from the line, like nonstop kind of vibes. You'll be able to get out there and dribble, but you're not going to be dunking. So what we have to do, we have to build this muscle. We have to nurture this relationship with ourselves. So think about how much time you put in with your ex. Think about how much time you put in with your friends, the group chat, all the things, the person you're trying to impress, your boss. Do that for you. Show up for yourself like that. You are in a relationship with yourself, whether you realize it or not, and you've got to nurture it. All right. So don't get caught up in the misery loves company and other people and their nonsense. You got to listen to you. How are we going to do that? Daily check-ins. Spend 5 minutes a day tuning in. You don't have to meditate. You don't have to have a whole practice. You could literally just sit there while you're in the bathroom in the morning instead of being on your phone scrolling and fucking looking at doomsday. You could be sitting there quietly. You could just be, I don't know, thinking about the day, having some gratitude. How you feeling? How's your body feeling? How's life? You're aging. It's a privilege. Instead of being like, oh man, I fucking feel like shit right now. What? No. Maybe you're like, I shouldn't eat tacos anymore because my stomach's killing me right now. Whatever. Maybe journal. Stare at your feet while you're pooping and be like, how am I really doing right now? Check in with yourself. 5 minutes, 10 minutes in the morning, in the evening. It'd be great. Other thing, you got to detox the noise because the answers are already inside you and we got to tune out the static so you can finally hear them. Unfollow people who make you feel like shit. That's the first thing you can do and the easiest thing you can do. Why are you getting influenced and following these influencers who are doing the best of? That's what social media is. It's the best of, okay? Don't get got. So unfollow people who make you feel like shit. And if that is your own friends, unfollow them too. Mute them. If that is your family, same thing. All right? Turn off the notifications. You don't need to know every time someone likes or someone posts or unless you know you have to. You don't really need to. So ask yourself that. Do I have to? Do I need to? And for the love of God, please stop doom scrolling before you go to bed. Stop filling your brain with bullshit and doom and the negative before you go to sleep, because you are not going to have a restful sleep. All right? Just don't do that to yourself. Look at cats. Go on the kitten account. Go on those two little dogs who hang out like they're little best friends. They're really like puffy little dogs. Like, go look at them. Make a separate account for happiness. Like, what I suggest is make a dopamine account, like a good dopamine account that's like all good news, and train that algorithm for that account. And like, if you got to scroll before you go to bed, look at that one. All right. Practice saying no. How about that? No to things that don't serve you. No to people that don't make you feel good. No to things that drain you, the energy vampires. And definitely no to sticking a fingerling potato up your butt, All right. So the more you practice these things, the stronger your intuition's going to get. And soon you won't need to ask the question, what should I do? What is my purpose? What do I feel like eating? You're just going to know. And that's actually a good way to start with your intuition. Start practicing with food. You can say to yourself, start with yes or no's. What do I want to eat today? Do I want to eat Mexican or do I want to eat Chinese? What comes up first? What has the stronger pull towards it? Eat that and then see how you feel. And then you'll know if your intuition was right, if you feel totally satisfied and you feel great. All right, how much time we got left? Ooh, we're almost at the end of this episode. So let's see. What do we got? I got a little prediction for where I think all this is going. One, I know where this project is going, and I know where my content is going and what I'm going to be creating. My goal is to keep you grounded. My goal is to keep you in the best relationship with yourself. My goal is to foster that relationship with yourself and to curate for you and share. And I got a lot of interviews coming up and some stuff coming up for people that I think are really cool and really, really dope, and who I'm going back to kind of the roots of this project with. People who've inspired me, people who I think are listening to their intuition, who are trusting their gut, and who really are doing their own thing, regardless of what anyone around them is saying, and regardless of what the noise and the chatter and all the nonsense, and they stuck to it and how it paid off for them. So that's going to be coming up in the next couple of weeks. I've been working really hard on that. I've worked on that for almost a year. Listen, I have a full-time job. I also got my own shit going on. So, maybe if this channel gets, a lot of subscribers on YouTube, and we bump this Substack up, and we get, if you'd like to subscribe and pay for the Substack, you absolutely can. It's $8 a month. And I do a giveaway every month. So it works out for everybody. So if you want to support my work, then I could have more time, and I can also get better guests, and maybe I could get some better brand deals, so we have some good shit to give away, So maybe think about that. That's on you. So subscribe, leave a review, share. That'd be nice. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. There's that business. Also, I got another giveaway coming up for the month of November. I got some cool shit to give away. So if you're a subscriber of the Substack, paid subscriber, you're automatically entered in that. Okay, there's my plug. There's my housekeeping for myself. All right. Anyway, what do I think is going to be happening in 2024? I think that the rest of 2024 into 2025, I am here. I got the series coming out about the things that have helped me, the things that have helped other people. I'm going to be curating for you some stuff that I think is worth, having in your life, or reading or watching, or, having eyes on. But I think we're going to be moving into a real era of quiet confidence. Okay. I think people are going to really start leading themselves. And I think that's what we need, because like I said before, we have been influenced way too much. We are like overly influenced. All the influencing has moved us away from ourselves. It's gotten us distracted. It's gotten us far. And I think people are going to be dialing it back. I think we're going to start prioritizing real self-care. I know that's what I'm going to be doing. I think we're going to be choosing to trust ourselves over external validation. I think in the coming months, we're going to be curating a lot of what we consume. We're going to think about how it's impacting our mental, our physical, and is it really adding anything to our lives? I think we're going to see a bigger focus, like I said, on self-leadership, digital minimalism, detoxing, biohacking, all the things, more mindful consumption of media, of food, conversation, community, culture. Basically, trusting yourself is not going to be a trend, okay? It's going to be a movement back to who you really are and who you're really meant to be. Trusting yourself is going to be the quiet revolution, in my opinion. And if you're not on board, I really, truly feel you're going to get left behind, or you're going to really lose your progress, really lose yourself. And I think it's like the only way you're going to be able to, move out of this and come out of this strong and on top. So this is what I think. I don't think it's a trend. I think this is like this is going to be the way. This is going to be the lifestyle for a lot of people. So that's my hot take. Let me know what your takeaway is from this. Let me know your hot takes in the comments. Let me know what you got. If you're watching this on YouTube, maybe to go listen to the podcast in your car. If you listen to this podcast while you're doing laundry, maybe go watch the YouTube. I don't know. Let's get those numbers up. What's the final here? Chaos is inevitable. The what the fuck moments are going to happen. You're not getting rid of them. You're not getting past them. But you're built for it. You're here. And I believe like we chose to be here during this time. I believe maybe we were like, send me down, put me in. I know it's going to be wild. I know it's going to be unpredictable. I know I'm probably going to think it's the end of the world at times, but I know better because I chose to be here. That's what I keep telling myself. When it gets really weird, when it gets really rocky, when I'm like, what the fuck? Now what? I tell myself, you chose to be here. You incarnated during this time. You picked this round. Clearly it was for a reason. So get off of fucking social media and doom scrolling, Donna, and go do what you're supposed to do for the collective. Go play your part. Go get on there. Talk about intuition. Talk about whatever. Go do those interviews. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, you gotta make yourself uncomfortable again. You can't be absolute, baby girl. And you're built for this. And that's what I tell myself. Because I know every time I fall and every time I fumble and every time I have a what the fuck moment, I know those moments make me stronger. I know they give me like a re-up. They give me a power up. I get closer to who I am. My self-confidence improves. While it's all happening, no. While it's all happening, it really actually sucks. And it's a lot. But afterwards, I know that I'm going to be better. I know I'm going to stand more in my power. I know I'm going to be a better version of me because I'm learning something. And also I fucking survived whatever it was. So now I've learned to look at those moments as opportunities because that's what they are. And it's again, like I said, it's all mindset. It's a shifting of mindset because I trust myself in those moments. I trust myself that this is going to be an opportunity. I trust myself that this is going to add to me. It's not going to take away. And it's also, I know it's not going to ruin me. I know that I'm in control of me. And I really, really trust myself. And I want you to really, really trust yourself too. I want you to become unstoppable. I want you to be able to get into flow. I want you to just answer to you. So before we go, I want to know how you're going to answer to you. I want to know how you get into flow. You can comment on the Substack. You can comment on my social media. You can send me a DM. You can, comment in the YouTube. I would love that. That'd be great. Comments are great. Pushes it on the algorithm. You know what it does. Anyway, my question, how are you dialing down the noise and tuning into you? How are you going to turn yourself up? All right. Shoot me a message, leave a comment. Or, maybe we'll chat in the next workshop, which I'll have details on that in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed this episode. The first one that I recorded sucked. I'll be honest. I was too absolute. I was holding on too tight of what I wasn't loose. I wasn't open to what it was supposed to be. So I'm glad I re-recorded it because this one was more me. Sometimes I feel like I've come off in these videos like I'm doing a fucking PowerPoint presentation to the board or to like the physicians at work. And I got to realize like, no, nobody wants that. You want fun me. You want happy me. All right. Liquid Death. If you want to sponsor me, I'll take the sponsorship because I'm trying to be off the booze again. All right. That's it. I'll see you soon. Stay safe, stay healthy. And most importantly, take care of yourselves. Bye guys.